Welcome to Gamma Radio with your host, Gil Mancha. This is my chronological discussion of the strongest one there is, The Incredible Hulk. Disclaimer, I will be actively getting and collecting issues as we go, and I'm trying to only cover issues that I have a physical copy of or are in a collected edition. I'm going to try to stray away from digital because I love physical media, but the Marvel Unlimited app would be a great way to keep up with the podcast. We'll of course start with his original self-titled comic. There's a few others, some TV shows, movies, and even some video games we can discuss. And trust me, I'd love to discuss those games down the line. Be sure to hit the follow button on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or preferred platform to get episodes as soon as they drop. While you're there, please leave a review so the show can be recommended to other comic book fans. In today's episode, we continue Hulk's time with the original incarnation of Earth's mightiest superheroes in The Avengers Volume 1, Issue 2, The Avengers Battle, The Space Phantom. This issue was released on September 3rd, 1963. Links will be in the podcast notes. Let's take a look back at what else was happening that day in history.
Duck can't cover sports fans. He's hulking out.
The best-selling single in the US was My Boyfriend's Back by the Angels, and in the UK was Bad to Me by Billy J. Kramer and the Dakotas. The top of the box office was Cleopatra. Children and teens were watching shows like Dennis the Menace, The Flintstones, The Bugs Bunny Show, and Mr. Ed. If you're a child, you're likely to be playing with toys like The Frisbee, Fisher-Price Little People, Play Pal Dolls, and Mousetrap. My Boyfriend's Back by the Angels is a pop song released as a single on July 1st, 1963. It originally was intended as a demo for the Shirelles, but ended up being released as recorded. Fun fact, the song features a young Ronnie Dio on trumpet. The song is a word of warning to a would-be suitor who, after being rebuffed by the female narrator of the song, spread nasty rumors accusing her of romantic indiscretions. Now, the narrator declares her boyfriend is back in town and ready to settle the score, and she warns the rejected admirer to watch himself. The single spent 3 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard 100. Cashbox described it as a hand-clappin', mashed potato-style delighter that can bust wide open in no time flat, and praised the arrangement by Leroy Glover. Billboard named the song number 24 on their list of 100 greatest girl group songs of all time. The most notable fact about this is that there is a parody of the song lyrics that were sung by the characters of The Office, US version, in Season 8, Episode 21, Angry Andy. Bad to Me by Billy J. Kramer and the Dakotas is a country beat rock song released in the UK on July 26, 1963. The song is credited to Lennon-McCarthy, a duo of John Lennon and Paul McCartney of the Beatles. In some interviews, Lennon said he wrote the song himself, and in others, he said McCarthy was a contributor. It hit number 1 on the UK singles chart. Lennon's original demo of the song was released on iTunes in December 2013 on the album The Beatles Bootleg Recordings 1963. My Boyfriend's Back is just a fun song, it's catchy and there's funny parts. Near the end of the song there are the lyrics, "You're a big man now, but he'll cut you down to size. Wahoo, wait and see, my boyfriend's back. He's gonna save my reputation. Hey la de la, my boyfriend's back. If I were you, I'd take a permanent vacation." It contrasts so hard with Bad to Me. You go from I'm happy my boyfriend's back to I'd be so sad if my girlfriend left or broke his heart. Even in that, Bad to Me is still a happy song that recognizes how, if things weren't good, he'd be a mess. They're both celebrating the same thing, but in vastly different ways. Bad to Me is still a good song, of course. My Boyfriend's Back is so catchy. Plus, it's wild to think that Dio was part of My Boyfriend's Back since he was on the trumpet. Cleopatra is a 1963 American epic historical drama film directed by Joseph L. Mankiewicz from a screenplay by him, Ranald MacDougall, and Sidney Bachman. Adapted from the 1957 book The Life and Times of Cleopatra by Carlo Maria Francero, and from Histories by Plutarch, Suetonius, and Appian. The film stars Elizabeth Taylor in the eponymous role, along with Richard Burton, Rex Harrison, Roddy McDowall, and Martin Landau. IMDb states, Queen Cleopatra VII of Egypt experiences both triumph and tragedy as she attempts to resist the imperial ambitions of Rome. There are several versions of Cleopatra to have reportedly existed. One, an 8-hour assembly work print in black and white, a 7-hour rough draft, a 5-hour color work print showed to Zanuck, a 4.5 rough cut for Zanuck, a 4-hour New York City premiere cut, 3.5-hour post-release cut, and a 3-hour neighborhood theater cut that many people saw. Mangwich has stated he always wanted it to be 2 films and about a total of 5.5 hours. The movie won several awards, including the 1963 National Border Review Awards for Best Actor, the 1964 Laurel Awards for Top Roadshow, 1964 Academy Awards for Best Art Direction, Set Decoration Color, Best Cinematography, Color, Best Costume Design Color, and Best Special Effects. It's available to buy and rent on YouTube, Google TV, Apple TV, Fandango at Home, and Prime Video. We already covered Dennis the Menace, The Flintstones, The Bugs Bunny Show, and Mr. Ed, so since you're keeping up with the podcast, you already know all about them. We already covered Fisher-Price Little People and PlayPal dolls in previous episodes, so since you're keeping up with the podcast, you already know all about them as well. The Frisbee is a gliding plastic toy or sporting item known for its airfoil shape that provides lift and stability for accurate long-distance throws. Frisbees were invented in the late 1930s by the American inventor Walter Frederick Morrison and is a registered trademark of the Wham-O Toy Company. Mousetrap, originally Mousetrap Game, is a classic 2 to 4 player children's board game where players navigate the board, collecting cheese and assembling a complex Rube Goldberg-style contraption to trap opponent mice. The goal is to be the last mouse on the board and successfully building the machine and activating it to trap others. It was first published by Ideal in 1963, and later in the 1990s, Mousetrap was adapted into a game show within the British children's television show Motormouth. It's the same game, but life-size. While I haven't played the game, I do remember the commercial from the 90s, bear with me because I refuse to look up the lyrics, but I think the jingle went something like this. It's a zany action, a crazy contraption, the fun is catching, Mousetrap. Now let's see what it actually is. Oh, okay. It's a brainy action, a crazy contraption, the fun is catching, Mousetrap. So I was mostly right. If you're familiar with either songs or top movie, let me know. On the Spotify app, there's now a comment section. You can do it there or on social media. That's a taste of what the world was like when the Avengers issue 2 was released.
Ow, I hurt myself changing this tire!
I'm reading this thanks to Marvel Epic Collection The Incredible Hulk, Volume 1 Man or Monster, but it's also available via Marvel Epic Collection The Avengers, Volume 1, Marvel Masterworks, Avengers Volume 1, Avenger Omnibus Volume 1, and honestly several others, but those are probably the best to get physically. If you prefer a black and white style, then the Essential Series, The Avengers Volume 1 works, but the series is ended, so you'll have to go to another from where it ends off if you want to keep reading Avengers comics. The story was written and edited by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, inked by Paul Raymond, colored by Stan Goldberg, and lettered by Artie Simic. The cover shows the Avengers at a street corner with the rest of the team surrounding a transparent Hulk, and inside the transparency is a man in a dark purple suit and Widow's Peak facing Iron Man. Ant-Man has a redesign without his metal helmet and a cloth continuation of his suit and towers over the Hulk instead of being small. There's a green arrow above him that says, "See the new Giant Man." To his left, Thor is spinning his hammer. Above Thor is a blue text box that says, "Armed with fantastic power, the Space Phantom sets out to destroy the world's mightiest superheroes." In front of Giant Man is Iron Man, and in the other corner is Wasp, who flies in and says, "Giant Man, Thor, look out. It isn't the Hulk. It's the Space Phantom. He's about to attack Iron Man." Under here is another blue text box that says, "One by one, the Space Phantom removes the Avengers and takes over their bodies himself. A Marvel sensation." There's a couple of mistakes in this issue. The first is that the Hulk is sometimes drawn with 3 toes, and the second is that Rick Jones states Hulk's secret identity is Don Blake instead of Bruce Banner. Another note is that this is the last time Hulk is a member of the Avengers until Avengers Assemble Volume 2, Issue 2. The About This Issue section on the Marvel Unlimited app for this issue says, "One of the Avengers is not who he seems. An alien agitator fragments a team almost as soon as it's begun." After the break, we'll summarize the issue. What it do, guys? Mandrame here, and if you like board games, especially deck building games, you should check out at Team_Thunder on YouTube. There we have unboxings and games of Legendary, a Marvel deck building game, the DC deck building game, the Transformers deck building game, and many more. That's where you can find VODs for this, Accelerated Visions, a Spider-Man 2099 podcast, and Water Damage, an Aquaman podcast where you can directly leave a comment and we can discuss the issues.
No, not the Hulk. Not now.
The Avengers battle the Space Phantom. Hulk with his arms behind his back, Thor with a knee up and having set down his hammer while still holding it, and Iron Man is standing all around a circular table. There's a text box at the bottom that gives context, the time, the present, the place, the library of Anthony Stark, millionaire weapons manufacturer, the occasion, a new meeting of Earth's mightiest superheroes, the Avengers. Iron Man asks, "Where is Ant-Man? We can't begin our meeting without him." Thor responds, "He'll show up, never fear. In the meantime, is it necessary for you to attend our meetings clothed in that repulsive manner, Hulk?" Iron Man, "If you don't get this yellow-haired yahoo off my back, I'll boot him up to Asgard for good. No one talks to the Hulk like that, not even Thor." Unbeknownst to the group, Ant-Man and the Wasp are there, on the table near the hammer. Thor responds to Hulk, "You dare speak to the God of Thunder? Why, with one blow of my hammer, Ant-Man, riding two ants, says, "Hold it, Thor. We're all allies, remember?" From above the small hero, someone asks, "Who spoke?" Ant-Man says, "We're too small. He can't see us. Take a growth pill, little partner." Henry Pym, "Couldn't you have made these silly things taste better while you were inventing them?" The two each swallow a pill, then grow to normal size, extending their arms like showmen. The other members are surprised. Thor says, "Ant-Man and the Wasp, where did you come from?" Ignoring the question, Hulk says, "Just in time to save you from being pulverized, long hair." Wasp answers, "The stork brought us, handsome." Iron Man asks, "But how?" Ant-Man holds up a white pill and points to it. "We're on the same team, so I can tell you this much. The Wasp and yours truly can change size instantly by taking these various little capsules of my own design. We arrived insect size, so you didn't see us." Thor says, "Truly a miraculous feat." The group sits down around the circular table for their meeting. Hulk says, "Well, now that the gang's all here, what do we do? I ain't in the mood to play spin the bottle." Iron Man says, "Even when there is no task before us, we still meet regularly to get to know each other better." Wasp thinks, I'd like to know that adorable Thor better." But little do the Avengers dream that a new danger is hurtling towards them at that very moment, in the shape of a strange egg-like object. From inside the craft, someone thinks, "After weeks of faster-than-light travel, I am almost upon my objective. In order to land on Earth unobserved, I shall alter my shape and join this falling meteor swarm." The front of the egg craft looks like a meteor to blend in. It ends up floating above the ground, and he thinks, "But unlike the genuine meteors, I shall not burn up in the atmosphere. Instead, I shall land unseen in this dark alleyway, and then change to my true and natural form, that of the Space Phantom." Smoke begins to envelop the craft, and he turns into a purple-suited man with a widow's peak. He says, "It is done. Phase 1 is complete. Now to find the Avengers and begin Phase 2, for they will be the real test. If I can destroy the Avengers single-handed, then no power on Earth can stop the total invasion by my people." He hides behind a wall in an alley to spy on people. He has webbed hands and webbing under his armpits that extend from his forearm to armpit that connect to his waist. He says, "I have been observing them from space. I know where they are at this moment. All I need do now is find a way to reach them without being observed." A man with a plaid suit jacket walks past. The Phantom walks behind him thinking, "And what easier way can there be than by merely imitating an Earthling's form?" A plaid suit materializes, as does a hat just like the man's. The man puts his fingers on his temples. What's happening to me?" Phantom, with a yellow aura around him, shoots a yellow beam from his hands at the man, turning him transparent. "There. Now, since two identical bodies cannot coexist, you must be banished to Limbo, the silent world between shadow and substance." The man's shape then reappears in a world full of white smoke, greens and blues with a yellow light moving through. Phantom continues, "And there you will remain until I imitate another creature, in which case he will take your place in Limbo while you return to your normal world." Later, the Phantom is walking through a hallway of a mansion. He thinks, "Even the Avengers do not know that Tony Stark, who has allowed them to meet in his mansion, is really Iron Man himself. But I know their secrets because I have observed them for months from space." But one thing the Space Phantom does not know is that the top of their table is really a TV warning screen. The Avengers sit around the table. Wasp says, "Look, an intruder's coming." He's not bad looking." Iron Man says, "He looks too sure of himself, as though he knows we're here, and he's prepared for us." Hulk says, "Nobody can be prepared for the Hulk." The group goes to the door, with Hulk opening it. Iron Man cautions Hulk, "Take it easy, big fella. Don't do anything rash. Let's find out what he's up to." "Stow it, Iron Man. We don't need a committee to handle one visitor. Let me take care of him. Real gentle-like." Thor says, "Do not injure him without cause, you savage, or I shall see that you regret it." Ant-Man says to Thor, "Easy, Thor. No need to steam the Hulk up. There's no stopping him when he goes on a rampage." Hulk goes through the door and meets up with the Phantom alone. The ordinary-looking man says, "The Hulk." He replies, "So, you know me." The Hulk begins to turn transparent. "What's happening to me? What?" From off-screen, the Phantom explains, "You are going to limbo, while the Space Phantom takes your identity." Hulk vanishes in the yellow beam as the Space Phantom takes his form. How easy it is to replace the helpless humans, he thinks. Now, as the Hulk, I shall cause the Avengers to fight among themselves, to destroy themselves. He returns to the meeting room. Ant-Man asks, "What happened, Hulk? Where did the intruder go?" "None of your business, stupid." Iron Man chastises him. "Listen, big man, no matter how tough you are, we don't have to take that kind of talk." Hulk pushes Iron Man, knocking him off balance. "Get out of my way, you rustpot, before I peel that armor off you like a tin can." Thor responds, "Hulk, you have gone too far." Iron Man tells him, "Easy, Thor, I'll handle him." Iron Man walks up to Hulk and makes a fist. "You seem to think like you're the only one of us with super strength. Well, mister, I'm about to show you how wrong you are. Bah, under that iron suit you're just a puny human. But I don't need any suit. I'm stronger than anybody." Iron Man pushes Hulk into the wall. "Let's see what good your strength does against my transistor-powered bulldozer punch." Iron Man punches Hulk, aiming for his face, but Hulk dodges, and Iron Man's fist goes into the wall. "Too slow, Iron Man. You gotta hit me before you can hurt me." The two move to an open area of the room. Hulk winds his right arm up to bring it down. "Now it's my turn. Here's where I turn you into a useless scrap iron." Iron Man is hunched over and thinks, "Strange. The Hulk is more brutal, more merciless than ever. What could have changed him?" Suddenly, the awesome hammer of mighty Thor whirls between the two combatants. This puts distance between the two. Iron Man says, "Look out!" As he swings the hammer, Thor says, "Back, back, I say." Hulk just says, "Huh?" Having stopped spinning, Thor stands between the two with his arms crossed. Iron Man asks, "Listen, Longhair, what gives you the right to butt in that way?" "My irresistible Uru hammer, for one thing." Hulk says, "You may be able to stop Iron Man, but not me. I'm walking out and nobody's stopping me." Hulk walks through the doorway with his arms held wide, with his outstretched arms going through the wall. He thinks, so far so good. I'll give them a little more time to get on each other's nerves, and then I'll return to finish the job. Using the Hulk's identity, I'll soon break up the Avengers. Forever. The Space Phantom goes back to the city where he had landed. He thinks, I might as well learn as much as I can about the unsuspecting humans, if they are soon to be my subjects. Ah, there is the one whose identity I first took. He returned from limbo at the split second that the Hulk took his place. The man is talking to the group. He's wiping sweat with a white cloth. "It's crazy, I tell you. 1 minute I was walking down the street, and then..." A man in blue says, "Look, if you've got a problem, go tell a cop. We're busy." A woman adds, "Honestly, the kooks who run around loose these days." The Space Phantom thinks, I'd better interrupt them before somebody listens to his story and suspects the truth. Using strength like the Hulk, he pulls up the sidewalk up to the end of the block, lifting the entire group. The man in blue says, "Look, it's the Hulk." A previously silent man says, "What's he doing?" The woman yells out, "Help, he's on a rampage." But suddenly, a solemn teenager fearlessly approaches the lumbering behemoth. It's Rick Jones who approaches the figure that seems to be the Hulk. "I've been waiting for you. You're starting to lose control. I'd better take you back to your secret lab, Hulk." Phantom thinks, this human knows the Hulk. I must be careful. He must not suspect that I am really the Space Phantom. Rick walks up to him. "What are you looking at me that way for?" "I'm on your side, Hulk. I'm Rick Jones, the guy whose life you once saved. The guy who looks after you, to make sure you're able to turn back to Dr. Bruce Banner when you want to." Phantom thinks, so the Hulk has another identity. Rick says, "Now bend down so I can climb on your back. That's it. Okay, now, take off. Come on, jump, before the police get here." Phantom thinks, jump. So that is how the Hulk seems to fly. Well, while I occupy a facsimile of his body, I can do what he can. After a small jump, he makes a big leap. Hanging onto his back, Rick says, "That's it, pard. Now down, now up again. Pretty keen having the strongest legs on Earth, huh?" While in the air, Rick continues, "Wait, you're going in the wrong direction. I don't get it. Hulk, what's going on? You don't seem like yourself. You didn't recognize me at first. And now, you're just leaping at random," Phantom thinks. He suspects, but he can do me no harm. In fact, I have an urge to boast, brag of what I have done, and what better person to reveal my power to than this? A weak teenager who's helpless without the real Hulk. He makes a rough landing with Rick being thrown off. "Hey, look out! You landed too hard. There is something wrong with you. I know it." Phantom approaches a ground-bound Rick. "There is more wrong than you dream, human fool. I am not the true Hulk. I have merely imitated his body, thereby taking over all his power as well. For I am the Space Phantom, the one who can imitate any living being. I should have guessed, but then, where is the real Hulk?" He answers, "A good question. Two beings who are exactly the same cannot occupy the same world. So, when I take any creature's identity, that creature is instantly transported to Limbo, the place of nothingness. Until I take a new shape, watch. I shall bring the Hulk back, as I turn into my true self." The form of the Hulk starts to become transparent, showing the Space Phantom's true form. Between the two, the Hulk appears sitting down. Rick says, "He told the truth, Hulk. You're back, quick! The Space Phantom on your left, get him!" Shocked, Hulk says, "Huh? What? What happened to me?" The Phantom answers, "I merely wish to demonstrate that even the most powerful figure on Earth is merely putty before the power of the Space Phantom." The real Hulk starts to become transparent as his transparent figure starts to grow over the Space Phantom. Rick tries running to the vanishing Hulk. "Hulk, wait, don't fade away. I need you. The world needs you. Hulk, come back." The Space Phantom says, "He shall return when it suits my purpose to take a new identity, but not one instant sooner. Now, in the powerful identity of the Hulk again, I shall return to the Avengers and finish my task. This time I will find a way to make them destroy themselves, and Earth shall then be mine for the taking. As for the boy, he is of no further concern. There is nothing he can do to stop me." He makes a preparing jump and then leaps away. Looking on in shock, Rick thinks, He's leaving. What do I do now? What can I do? A short distance away, a multiple anti-missile missile gun invented by Anthony Stark is about to undergo its final test. One of the technicians working on it says, "I tell you, Bill, that Tony Stark is a genius. He dreams up these weapons almost faster than we can test them." Bill responds, "Yeah, hard to figure where he gets time to be a playboy as well. He ought to be here any minute. Can't start the test without him." A soldier with a cigar says, "Maybe he'll send Iron Man instead." Boy, imagine having a guy like Iron Man on your payroll. Unbeknownst to the group, a figure that looks like the Hulk is leaping their way. He lands right at the anti-missile missile gun, ripping it off its stand and thinks, "On my way to the Avengers, I might as well destroy this weapon. It will be something else the uncomprehending Hulk will be blamed for." A soldier shoots at him. "It's the Hulk. He's stealing our missile gun." In trying to get away with the device, all the missiles are sent high above. He thinks, I must have accidentally triggered the device. Good. Any damage I can do to the human's weapon will ultimately benefit me. Meanwhile, in a private locked room, Anthony Stark undergoes a secret life-giving treatment. He plugs a power cord into the wall that's attached to his armored vest. He says, "I'd hate to think what would happen if I ever failed to charge my transistor-powered heart activator." The phone rings. Ring! He continues, "Well, that's enough for today. The phone. It must be urgent for them to ring me in here." He stands up and answers the phone while holding his briefcase that holds the rest of his hero's suit. "What? The Hulk stole my missile gun? But that's hold everything. I'll send Iron Man to the site immediately. He'll get to the bottom of it," he thinks. Good thing I gave myself a complete charge. Now off the phone, he starts putting on the rest of his suit and thinks, lucky the missiles had no nuclear warheads. They can't do any real danger, but what can the Hulk be up to? He hasn't been acting like himself lately. Once suited, he goes to the city and is airborne while thrusters in his boots keep him up and his arms push him forward. Well, there's only one way to find out. My built-in radar device registers an unidentified object at 3 o'clock, a half-mile away, and I think I can guess who it is. In the air, he meets up with the Hulk. Iron Man says, "It is you. I always thought we had made a mistake allowing you to join the Avengers. Now I'm sure of it." The Space Phantom, disguised as the Hulk, tosses aside the missile gun and thinks, Iron Man, reacting just as I hoped he would. How easy it is for the Space Phantom to sow the seeds of distrust and hatred among his victims. I'll attack him. I'm sure the body I've imitated is stronger than his. But a battle is won by more than strength. Seizing the Hulk's ponderous hands in his own mighty grip, Iron Man sends a low-voltage electrical charge through his own amazing transistor-powered fingers. And while the real Hulk would have endured the pain and fought back in a paroxysm of savage fury, the Space Phantom possesses neither his courage nor his almost limitless endurance, and so Hulk lands on the sidewalk, scaring away baseball players. His face is one of pain as he thinks, he's too strong, I've got to escape. Iron Man uses his thrusters to quickly follow and land. He thinks, I don't understand. That electric charge wasn't powerful enough to cause the Hulk to flee and panic that way, and yet the Space Phantom, under the guise of the Hulk, begins to turn transparent as he thinks, I'll imitate the shape of that small flying insect. And so, as the Space Phantom instantaneously transforms himself into a tiny wasp, the real Hulk appears from limbo. But so swift has the change been that Iron Man is unaware of it and believes himself still to be fighting the same foe. He thinks, I've got to find a way to knock him out and bring him to the Avengers. Iron Man quickly attaches an expanding device to his amazing costume, taken from his built-in chestplate accessory compartment. It elongates his right arm into a hollow cylinder, then attaches a hammerhead to the end. Click, he thinks, and this should be just the thing to do the trick. With apologies to Thor. Strange though, this time the Hulk doesn't look fearful. But at that very moment, Rick Jones has reached the nearest member of his nationwide teen brigade and immediately goes into action. A teen with a green plaid shirt says, Gosh, Rick, are you really gonna call Giant Man? Rick, wearing a headset and manning the machine, says, Yeah, if you'll clam up so I can find the right wavelength. Let's see now. Plaid shirt turns towards the door. Hey, Ma, Pa, come in here. Rick is calling Giant Man. Hurry, don't miss it. Rick tries to find the right wavelength. Oh great, the Avengers are in deadly danger, and that lame brain thinks this is a three-ring circus. Calling Giant Man. Calling Giant Man. Plaid's parents arrive and they get close to Rick. He ignores them and continues. Do you read me, Giant Man? An alien called the Space Phantom is impersonating the Hulk. Need your help. Plaid's dad adjusts his glasses. Say, this is thrilling. Plaid's mom says, Wait till I tell the girls at my sewing circle. And in the lab of the astonishing Henry Pym. Henry's in his civilian clothes with a lab coat over it, wearing a headset manning a communication device. Sounds serious, Jen, let's go. Note, for the thrilling origin of Giant Man, see Tales to Astonish number 49. Henry goes into another room and puts on his new suit. He then grows and says, He called Giant Man rather than Ant-Man, so it must be a top priority emergency. Wasp says, While you double your size, I'll become Wasp size. Here goes. She flies near Giant Man's head and asks him, Did anyone ever tell you that you have the most deliciously blue eyes, Henry Pym? Be serious, little one. I've a feeling we have a strange and dangerous task ahead of us. Minutes later, a couple are driving down the road and see a giant man. The passenger says, John, look, a giant. John says, Holy smoke, and in a costume yet. Using his pointer finger and thumb, he's carefully holding the wasp by her hand, who says, Whee! I feel like a hitchhiker. Iron Man is winding back his hammer arm. Ducking out of the way won't help you. Wait till my next swing. Hulk responds, Enjoy yourself while you can, Rustpot. When I get my hands on you. Giant Man and Wasp arrive, with the Giant Man calling out, Hold it! When he gets there, he grabs Iron Man's hammer arm and Hulk's head. He says to Iron Man, Take it easy, little fella. Don't do anything you'll regret in the morning. Giant Man, let go, you oversized clown. Hulk's had this coming for a long time. While in the air being held by Giant Man, Hulk says, Stay out of this, you hear? As big as you are, I can still demolish you and Iron Man too. Giant Man lets go of the two, who then face him while he tells them, Listen to me, both of you, this is insane. We've no reason to fight among ourselves. What's happening to us? Iron Man agrees. He's right. We're making fools of ourselves. We're acting like kids. Wasp flies around them. Giant Man, I can sense an evil presence here. Be careful. Hulk turns to Iron Man. You got off pretty easy that time, Shellhead, but if you ever cross me again... Quiet, you brainless gargoyle. Didn't you hear the Wasp? She's hypersensitive to certain stimuli, and she senses trouble. And the Wasp's instincts, half female intuition, half insect super sense, prove to be right, for minutes later, the Space Phantom, disguised as a wasp, grabs the Wasp and thinks, Giant Man's partner. What a stroke of luck for me. Wasp looks back. A wasp attacking me, but that's impossible, unless it's not a genuine wasp. A few hundred yards away, Giant Man's new amazing cybernetic helmet picks up the impassioned impulses of Wasp's frantic battle. He turns his head. The Wasp's in danger. Under his mask, we see a cutaway diagram of his wafer-thin cybernetic helmet. He starts to run in her direction and says, "The cybernetic impulses from the direction of Anthony Stark's factory, just across Grand Central Parkway. Follow me." The others follow, with Hulk leaping and Iron Man jets pushing him on roller skates as he thinks, he doesn't suspect that I am really Anthony Stark. Once inside the factory, I'll be fighting on my home grounds. The three get to the factory. Iron Man looks away and says, "Here we are, but everything seems normal." Giant Man looks towards the door. Through this door, the impulses are getting stronger. Hulk is grabbing a wall. Why bother with doors? I'd rather tear the walls apart. Guided to the Wasp by a sensitive helmet, the Giant Man doesn't notice an astonishing change taking place behind him. The Space Phantom appears with a yellow aura around him, with a wasp flying away. He thinks, I no longer need my wasp's shape. I see a far better one to borrow. Giant Man looks at a tiny wasp. Jan, thank heaven you're safe. Don't worry about me. Look behind you, quick! But before the 12-foot-high adventurer can turn around, the Space Phantom has taken his identity, causing the real Giant Man to be sent instantaneously to Limbo. A transparent image of Giant Man starts appearing over him. Farewell, Giant Man. Now I, the Space Phantom, shall continue where I left off. As Giant Man falls through the portal to Limbo, he says, I'm whirling into another dimension, a shadowy, silent world. Smiling, the new Giant Man grabs Wasp by the waist in his giant hand. Thank you, female human, for acting as a decoy for me. I saw what happened. You're not Giant Man. You've taken his form somehow. But you're not him. Hulk walks up to him. I saw it too. I don't know how you took over Giant Man's body, but that must be what happened to me too. Still holding Wasp in his hand, he says, So my secret is out. Well, no matter. I realize now that I have no need for secrecy. He tosses Wasp away while slapping down his other fist. Begone, Wasp. I have more important victims to slay. Once I have destroyed the Avengers, all of Earth will tremble before the power of the Space Phantom. Hulk jumps away from the hit. Yeah? Hulk gets in front of Giant Man and lifts him up. Well, you forgot one thing. You took the biggest body you could find, but not the strongest. The Hulk is more powerful than a dozen giant men. For this indignity, I shall slay you slowly. As she flies away, Wasp thinks, I've got to get help. If only I can find Thor. Hulk tosses Giant Man. This is only a sample of what you'll get unless you bring back the real Giant Man. See? But, moving with unexpected speed, the alien in the double-sized human body drives Anthony Stark's latest invention, a tank-like moon tractor, straight towards the waiting Hulk. You dare threaten the Space Phantom? Hulk falls to his back and, with the wall behind him, says, Yeah, I dare. He then uses his powerful legs, wham, to send the tractor in the opposite direction. Right in its way is Iron Man, who thinks, My moon vehicle. He says, Giant Man, what's going on? The Space Phantom has jumped out of the way and is hanging onto the ceiling. He thinks, I am agile enough to leap to safety, but Iron Man is not. But in one split second, Iron Man presses a stud on his chest control panel, causing his iron suit to become rigid, and magnetizing his iron boots solidly to the floor. He puts up his arms to defend as a tractor hits him. Thump. He stops the tractor but is knocked to the ground, Giant Man says. So it seems that each of you Avengers is more powerful than I expected, but no matter, even your combined might is not great enough to save you from the Space Phantom. He turns away from Iron Man, but the others approach. He starts to become transparent, turning back into the Space Phantom. I must act quickly. I shall now take Iron Man's form. Neither the Hulk nor Giant Man will suspect till it is too late. Iron Man is pulled through a portal. As the Space Phantom suddenly assumes the identity of Iron Man, the real Giant Man dramatically reappears and, kneeling, Giant Man puts his hand over his face and thinks, I'm back from Limbo, but how can we ever defeat a quick-changing Space Phantom? Hulk rushes in. Come on, Giant Man, don't just stand there. He turned himself into Iron Man. I saw him. Grab him before he can change again. And as the battle continues in Stark's Long Island factory, the Wasp desperately seeks the help from the one remaining member of the Avengers. She thinks, We were told to call Dr. Don Blake when we wanted Thor. He knows how to contact him. I'm in luck. There's Blake now. She grabs a pencil out of his hand and writes on the paper. Trouble at Stark Factory, need Thor. He says, The Wasp. Don stands up, using his walking stick, and tells her, Wait outside in the reception room while I send for Thor. Will do, Doc, she thinks. He'd be real dreamy if he was a little huskier. Satisfied that he is safe from prying eyes, the lame, mild-looking doctor stamps his walking stick upon the floor, and then yellow light envelops his form. A strong, commanding voice rings out into the next room as the Wasp returns. Who summons the God of Thunder? I, the Wasp. Then, after quickly telling her story, as he's pulled by the momentum of throwing his hammer, he says, On to the factory of Tony Stark. Death to the Space Phantom. Flying alongside him, Wasp thinks, He sounds like a burlesque of a comic hero in Mad Magazine, but with those shoulders, those eyes, who cares how corny he talks? They arrive at the battle with Thor spinning his hammer, he thinks, Iron Man using his transistor-powered stream discs to keep Hulk and Giant Man at bay. He must be the Space Phantom. A spinning Hulk says those air jets have to run out of steam sooner or later, and when they do, Giant Man, also spinning, says, Easy, Hulk, here comes Thor. Now the gang's all here. Wasp flies behind Iron Man and thinks, I'm tired of flying around like Peter Pan's little Tinkerbell. It's time I did something, and I know just the thing to do. She flies to his hand and thinks, I'm too small for the Space Phantom to notice, so I'll just slip under his jet discs. She grabs at wiring and says, There, I snipped the main control cable. Thor throws his hammer and thinks, Once the Space Phantom is defeated, we'll find a way to return the real Iron Man. Distracted, Phantom looks at his malfunctioning hand. My jet disc! It's been tampered with! But Iron Man's electronic warning device alerts the Space Phantom at the last split second, and he turns toward the hammer and motions with his working hand, saying, Thor's hammer. I'll turn my high-intensity magnetic repulsor on it. The hammer flies back to Thor. I've lost the element of surprise. He is prepared for me, Iron Man says. Now the battle reaches its final phase. Once I have vanquished you, Thor, all of Earth will feel the fury of the attack by the phantoms from space. Thor catches his hammer and slams it on the ground. Not so, thou braggart. Earth is under my protection. This I have pledged with my life. He lifts his hammer. Now behold how the fury of the storm is mine to command. See how the very elements obey my will. Iron Man is turned around and thinks, He pounded that hammer of his, and this thunderstorm started. I can feel the rain affecting my iron armor. Hulk and Giant Man are on the ground regaining their strength. The rain and thunder stop as Iron Man is stuck leaning forward with rust spots all over and Thor standing in front of him. Thor says, There, you are helpless now, unable to move, for the torrential rain has rusted you completely. Such overconfidence will cause your downfall, the same as it did the others. The image of Iron Man becomes transparent, showing his true form as he says, I do not need the power to move, not when I can imitate anyone I choose. And so, for the final indignity, I choose your body, Thor. I sentence you now to limbo. But no sooner are the words spoken than the totally unexpected occurs. The Space Phantom is pulled through the portal. No, this is impossible. I'm going to limbo instead of you. But how? Thor answers, Your power only affects humans, but I am the God of Thunder. And as the Space Phantom's power backfires against him, the real Iron Man returns from limbo, having been replaced by the awesome alien himself. I'm back. Thor runs to him. It is ended, Iron Man. We have won. The whole group meets up. Iron Man, with a hand over his head, says, But what happens when the Space Phantom returns? Giant Man says, He's not likely to. He'll have to remain in limbo until somebody comes to replace him. Hulk says, That means he stays there forever. Thor says, It is strange. For most of our battle, we thought we were fighting each other. We never suspected. Hulk says, I never suspected how much each of you hates me deep down. I could tell by the way you fought me, by the remarks you made. Hulk leaps into the air. Well, I don't need any of you. I'm still the Hulk. I'm still the strongest thing walking the earth. And whatever I do from now on, I do alone. The Avengers watch as the Hulk leaps again into the distance. Wasp says, Thank heavens he's leaving. He terrified me. Giant Man says, Perhaps he did, Wasp, but he'll be more dangerous than ever now. Thor asks, Without the Avengers to keep him in check, what will he do next? Next issue, the Hulk teams up with one of your favorite super characters to battle the Avengers in another 22-page Marvel epic. Remember, the stories, the art, the super characters you've always wanted are here at last in this, the long-awaited Marvel Age of Comics. The end. After the break, we'll go over some thoughts and feelings about the issue.
What's happening to me?
My darling boy, my Bruce. Don't be afraid. Scientists aren't supposed to fear evolution.
In the beginning, I was questioning how well the Space Phantom would do in a fight, considering they had just said that he took the physical likeliness of the victims. Pretending to be a superpowered person only gets you so far. Eventually, you have to get to a fight and inevitably fall short. Think of when Mystique fought Wolverine in live action while transformed into Wolverine. Wolverine's real adamantium claws sliced through the fake Wolverine's real looking but fake ones. Later, he establishes that he gets their power too, but not necessarily their endurance, like with the Hulk, and I would think that should extend to machinery like Iron Man. I would have been fine with Iron Man being the solution here, where he's able to copy his look, but not have powers because Iron Man technically doesn't have powers, because the powers are not attributed to him in a physical way. Thor's win makes sense, but it feels kind of cheap. He can copy humans and armor, but not gods. I guess he can copy anything of that realm, and because he's not from that realm, he's from Asgard, it doesn't count, but it's a little iffy. Throughout, I feel bad for the Hulk, especially at the end. To think you're welcome to this team only to find out that many, if not all the members, secretly wanted you gone and reveled in the chance to fight you because they dislike you so much. Keep in mind, Hulk joined at the end of the last issue because he was tired of being hunted and would rather be with them than against them. Here, he actively chooses neither, but in the preview it seems to imply that he chooses to be against them in the next issue. Iron Man seems to be the biggest Hulk hater here. He even tells the fake Hulk that he thought it was a mistake to let him join in the first place. He noticed a difference in Hulk, but that alone didn't get him to stop his fight. At this point, Hulk is just defending himself, and really is just always up for a fight anyway. Funny enough, he's the only silent one when Hulk quits the Avengers. What I like about MCU Iron Man, and even here, is how Iron Man improves over time. This isn't quite like a Hulkbuster suit situation, but the fact that Iron Man has created a hammer attachment based on Thor's hammer shows he respects the strength and finds it useful. I'm sure in the next issue we'll see that he's created a rust-proof armor, much in the same way that in the first movie he overcame the freezing issue, and that he put a warmer and tracker in the Spider-Man Homecoming suit. It'd be cool to see someone try to freeze him in place with water again based on this fight, and Iron Man freezes, but only as a feint and gets a surprise attack on his attacker. I enjoy the continuation of the Team Brigade as a narrative tool to spread news or dangers to the heroes. A funny thing I noticed is that when Rick called Giant Man and his friend was excited, Rick called him a lame brain, which is a term used by the Hulk around him, which we've seen in previous issues. It's fun to see Hulk's influence on Rick, even if slight. It's interesting that Giant Man and Wasp are the most trusting and transparent of the team. In the beginning, they reveal they can change their sizes using growth pills. It doesn't seem like they're hiding their identities from the team, but the rest of the team explicitly are. Everyone thinks Iron Man is hired by Tony. Don Blake had Wasp leave while he transformed, and Hulk stayed Hulk the whole time. In fact, it would have been an interesting twist if Hulk had transformed back to Banner and came back, since he doesn't look exactly like Hulk, and that's how they get around the mimicry ability. Granted, that gives more control over Hulk transformations, but that would have given Hulk and Banner more agency in this story. What do you think? Did you read the comic? Did I get something wrong? If I do and you guys let me know, I'll include a correction section in the next episode and I'll credit the user. Let's continue the discussion on social media and the YouTube VOD. You can find me at MandrameThunder on Twitter and at Team_Thunder on YouTube. If you're looking for another podcast to listen to and you're a Spider-Verse fan, then check out Accelerated Visions, a Spider-Man 2099 podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere you can find podcasts. If DC is more your thing and you want to hear about Aquaman, King of the Seven Seas, check out Water Damage, an Aquaman podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere you can find podcasts. Be sure to follow those in this podcast to get episodes as soon as they drop. Mandrame out.
What time up mean?